everyone, and welcome to another video, and also welcome to the one and only Morgan Long.
Hi friends, big hugs to any familiar faces out there, and Christy, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm just so glad that we're finally making this video happen.
So if you're not already subscribed to Morgan's channel, you absolutely should be. She makes beautiful videos that are so cozy, they're so wonderfully made. There will be a link to her channel in the description down below, so please go and check out Morgan's channel. How long have we been wanting to do this collaboration for? Like months? It's been so many months of us planning this.
It really has been. I can't believe it, but it's almost been a year since we had the idea to do this video. But between the time difference and the different hemispheres, and then also just both being creatives and trying to deal with scheduling and all of that, it's been a lot to figure out.
We've been talking about doing this collaboration for a really long time, and when we were thinking about the type of content overlap that we both sort of have, we kept coming back to the fact that we both speak about creativity, and we've spoken about burnout quite a bit. So we wanted to make this video about wellness and creativity and how to feel creative again after getting burnt out. So there's a lot of content now on the internet about burnout, and I'm really liking the fact that this conversation is getting bigger and people are becoming more aware of it. But I quite dislike the idea that wellness and recovery and self-care is somehow intrinsically linked to beauty or spending a lot of money or consumerism in any kind of way. I don't like that angle. I think wellness and self-care and looking after yourself is something that we all need to do. It's something that we all need to actively participate in all the time. The last 2 and a bit years have been incredibly stressful, and so I'm really glad that the awareness of burnout is increasing, but also burnout is increasing. And so today we wanted to make a video speaking about this topic and the things that we do to recover from burnout, and particularly how we feel creative again once we feel, frazzled, exhausted, creatively drained, uninspired, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly. I could not have said it better myself. These past 2 years have been filled with just one thing after another, and the emotional toll it's taken on all of us, emotional, physical, mental, every way. We are just struggling, and we're being pushed more and more into our own little bubbles, especially as working from home becomes more common, and the line between work and life is becoming increasingly blurred. And it's just terrible how many of us are just continually exhausted or emotionally low. And rest and self-care should not be a luxury. It's really unfortunate that so many of us have to work so hard to incorporate them into our daily routines, which is something that I've been trying to do more of, and I know you have too.
Yes, absolutely. It's also important here that we note that in regards to burnout, it's really important that you start by looking at the thing that's causing your burnout. You want to treat the problem first, not the symptom. However, if you're already at this point, you're feeling frazzled, you just want a nice cozy day to feel relaxed, to feel a bit better, these are the types of things that we do to feel better after feeling creatively drained, uninspired, and burnt out. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So the very first thing we're going to be doing today is going out and getting some exercise. For me, at least, when I feel like kind of down and really frazzled and like I'm not in a great headspace, the most important thing for me to do first is to just go out and do something that just makes my heart rate increase a little bit. Exercising releases endorphins in the brain that make you feel happier and less stressed. So what I'm going to do first is go for a nice brisk walk amongst the autumn foliage.
That was beautiful. And I wholeheartedly agree. Spending time outside in nature is so good for you. For me personally, it feels like therapy for my soul. It almost always puts me in a better headspace and mood. So it's currently fall going into winter for Christy and everybody else in Australia or the southern hemisphere, but here in the northern hemisphere, it is spring going into summer. And as such, I would love to take you guys for a walk through my favorite forest.
So I've managed to find a good little spot underneath a tree, so I think we're gonna be okay to sit here and read for a little bit. If it starts raining too much, I'm gonna have to skedaddle on home, but I love going outside when it's raining. It barely ever rains here, so when it does rain, it makes me very, very happy. But today we're gonna be reading, with my glasses on, Sylvia Plath's Ariel, which is a poetry compilation. I really love Sylvia Plath. I particularly love the poem Mad Girl's Love Song. It's one of my favorite poems of all time, and so that's what we're gonna be reading today. In the rain, with the gentle ambient sound of birds and raindrops. Very relaxing, a very good choice. Fingers crossed it doesn't start raining too much.
Like Christy, I absolutely love reading. It is my all-time favorite way to just forget myself and completely unplug and relax. As such, I'm an avid reader, but there are also so many other ways to unplug and refuel your overall well-being. Some of my favorites are watching my childhood movies, or like just favorite movies from my childhood. That always makes me feel so good. Doing puzzles, playing video games, journaling, or drawing. Basically anything that is entirely unrelated to work and that is purely for just enjoying myself. And today, I feel like watching one of my favorite childhood movies. Specifically, I'd really like to watch The Parent Trap.
Now, everyone's different. We all deal with feeling burnt out and stressed in different ways, but I know one of the ways that this really manifests for me is that I leave a lot of clutter around. Now, I'm very specific in the way that I am messy, right? Like things are clean, like they're clean, they're not gross. It's just that I leave stuff everywhere. That's why you guys see so many clips of me cleaning up my desk, is because when I'm stressed, it becomes atrocious. Now, my apartment doesn't look very bad here. This is fine. But the kitchen, there's stuff everywhere. The thing we're gonna do now is go ahead and just clean all of that stuff up.
Christy, I so relate to you on this one. You can always gauge how stressed out or overwhelmed I am based on how messy my home is. Always, 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 when things become too much for me, organization is the first thing to go. I just become cluttered and chaotic, and vice versa. If I'm able to clean the space around me, I immediately feel so much better. It's like decongesting my mind, honestly, just a breath of fresh air. I find so much comfort in making my home cozy. Just little simple things scattered throughout the house that give it just that I don't know, warm and inviting feel that makes me feel so relaxed when I come home from somewhere or just as I'm working from home. So we're gonna do exactly that.
The next thing we have on our list is removing stresses. So this again is going to be different for absolutely everyone. And to be honest with you, there's always going to be stresses in life that we don't have control over. But I think it's also really helpful and useful and important to look at the small life stresses that we can control. And particularly on days when you're feeling burnt out and you're feeling stressed, look at how we can negate those things. Now for me, one of the things I struggle the very most with is doom scrolling. When something bad happens, I find it personally really, really hard to pull myself away from Twitter. And so I've now made the decision to just not have Twitter on my phone. I also find that Instagram is another app that I always find myself just scrolling and scrolling through, and it doesn't always bring me joy. Basically, when I feel burnt out and stressed, I find myself scrolling and scrolling more. And so what I'm actually going to do today is uninstall Instagram. And I do this kind of regularly now on days when I feel stressed, and I just go ahead and reinstall Instagram again when I want to use it again. But basically, we're just gonna take this little guy and uninstall him. For me, I find that creating distance between myself and certain social media platforms when I do feel stressed is really helpful for my mental health. An alternative to this, if you don't want to uninstall a certain app, is to look really carefully at who you follow and how they make you feel. If you're following someone on Twitter or Instagram, if you're subscribed to them on YouTube, and you notice that you interact with their content a lot, they're not actually providing you a lot of value for your life. They don't make you feel better. They don't make you feel creative or inspired. They might just even make you feel kind of crappy. You can unfollow that person. In fact, you definitely should unfollow that person. I feel like we find it really, really easy to try and, want to keep up with everyone. But the thing is that if someone's content isn't making you feel good, you don't have to interact with it. You can unfollow them, you can mute them. There's so many different things you can do. So if you find that you sort of have sometimes a negative experience on social media, take a look at who you're following and how they make you feel, and feel free to unfollow them if that is useful to you.
So social media in particular has really negatively impacted my mental health significantly the past 2 years. What with doom scrolling, but then also seeking connection with friends I haven't been able to see because of social distancing. But then unfortunately, ultimately negatively comparing myself to my friends and other people that I've connected with on social media, or just complete strangers that I follow on social media. I have a terrible habit of negative self-comparison. And so I found myself spending hours a day on social media and then feeling terribly afterwards. I've tried setting limits on my phone on social media apps, and it worked at first, but then gradually just kind of wore off. So, like Christy, I have deleted Instagram and other social media apps from my phone, and it has helped me immensely anytime I go to check my phone. Instead, I treat myself with something that I really enjoy doing, like reading a page of a book, or doodling, or just taking a step outside and breathing in some fresh air, and so on and so forth. It has helped immensely.
So the very last thing that Morgan and I wanted to cover here is doing something to nourish yourself. And so we've had a really lovely day of going out into nature, getting endorphins from exercise, refilling the creative well, taking out stresses, fixing the environment, and now just doing one final thing that's good for yourself, that's kind to yourself, that helps nourish you. Now I'm doing that in a literal sense because I'm going to be making a lasagna. The reason why I'm making a lasagna is because A, I like putting a lot of vegetables into into the lasagna to make it feel more healthy and good for you, but also it's full of carbs and cheese, which make me very, very happy. Just so comforting. And lasagna was honestly one of my favorite foods to eat as a kid. So I love lasagna. It's easy to make. It doesn't stress me out like how some types of cooking really stresses me out. And so that's what I'm going to be making today.
Oh my goodness, that lasagna looked amazing. Oh, you have no idea how badly I wish that we could all sample food through the screen. How do I even follow that up? Well, I do have to say, I wholeheartedly agree. Carbs and comfort food, one and the same. And there's nothing quite so refreshing as a hearty, heartwarming meal. Always I feel so much better after I have one of those. And it just feels good to cook a good meal for yourself. And dessert, which brings me to Marionberry crumble. So fruit is one of my favorite ways to find nourishment. It's just packed with antioxidants and vitamin C and other nutrients and minerals, and is sweet. And I have a sweet tooth. So I thought that I would make a Marionberry crumble for dessert to Christy's lasagna.
Look at it go. It's a lot of steam. This is the end of our video. How did you go, Morgan? How was your cozy day?
It was the best day. I'm feeling very grateful to have had a day to unwind and focus on wellness.
I find that doing this is really important. It's so important to take time to look after yourself, and not everyone has the privilege of time off. Not everyone has the privilege of getting a whole day to spend sort of, self-indulgently doing whatever they want. But where you can, it's really important to look after yourself. We live in a world that's very, very stressful at the moment. I think it's really important, especially after the last 2 and a bit years where everything has been so compoundingly stressful, to make a big effort in looking after yourself and your well-being.
I wish that we could put ourselves first at times, more than on occasion, without feeling guilt. Self-care should not be a luxury, both financially and time-wise. So please do not feel guilty for spending time on yourself, for spending time to focus on your own well-being, both mentally, physically, and emotionally, for taking the time to do something just for the fun of it. You deserve to enjoy your life.
There's very few people I know in my life right now who haven't gone through some form of burnout over the last 2.5 years. And so I think it's very important that we, where we can, take time to look after ourselves, to rest and relax where we can, and to really take stock of what we're doing and how we can really truly look after ourselves and look after our mental well-being as well. Thank you guys so incredibly much for watching this video. Thank you, Morgan, so much for making this with me.
Thank you so much, Christy. It was really, truly a joy and a dream come true to be on this channel with you, to do a video in collaboration with you. And thank you so much to everyone for watching. If there are any familiar faces from my channel and you've not experienced Christy's videos before, please do watch some more and subscribe, because her content really, truly is just incredible. Oh, and we also did another collaboration video on my channel. So if you enjoyed this and you haven't seen that one, you might enjoy the other one as well. I think that's all. Thank you. Cheers.
If you haven't already, please go and check out Morgan's channel. She makes such beautiful videos and I love her content. And if you like my videos, I know you'll definitely love hers. So please go check Morgan out. Thank you so very much everyone for watching. An enormous thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting my channel. Take care guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.